And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural episode, definitely the first take of the Timmy's Gang, the Keeping Karlsson Timmy's Gang, episode 1 on March 29th, 2021. I am your host, Brian Com, and with me is a very special guest. Hey, Edward, how's it going?
Good, Brian. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I am doing so good. I am really excited to have you on to talk about this thing that's become a really big thing for like our patron community right now. So for anybody who's not familiar, I'm just going to give a quick little rundown of what exactly this is all about for this surprise Monday afternoon stream. So Tim Hortons is getting some free publicity here, and I hope they appreciate it. They have an app, and on that app they have a game called like Tim's Hockey Challenge. So for anyone who doesn't know what Tim's is in the first place, it's like this ubiquitous Canadian coffee and donut chain and people actually have really strong opinions one way or the other about whether like it's acceptable to ever drink Tim's coffee. I think it's as usual, the people on the polar opposites are generally the most unreasonable. Like, oh, you should never drink it, or oh, it's as good as anything else. They're both wrong. Everybody's entitled to their own Timmy's opinion, but the point of this is everybody has an opinion. Me personally, I could take it or leave it. Like Edward, we're playing this game to collect points, rewards points to spend at the at Tim Hortons for coffee or donuts or Timbits or a breakfast sandwich. It's ridiculous. I feel like I should be getting paid for this. Maybe they'll come across it and they'll decide that this is worth their while. But for me, I'm just like, for me, it's a little hockey game that we play for fun. Are there high stakes for you, Edward? Is it a big deal whether you get your Timmy's points each night from winning the game or not?
Yeah, so sorry to maybe ruin any potential sponsorship from Tim's with
Oh
what I'm
no.
about to say, but no, I'm not a big Tim's fan. I'm not to the extreme where I will disown family and friends who drink Tim Hortons, but I'm not a fan of their coffee, and there's no Tim Hortons close to me, so it's not good enough that I'm going to go out of my way in order to pick anything up from Tim's, unless it's free through maybe potential reward points.
Right. Okay. So you would go for free. This is what I'm saying. Everybody has these very
Yeah.
strong opinions. And actually, I'm really glad you balanced this out because this is free advertising for Tim Hortons. So we might as well talk a little smack about them if we're not getting paid to do it. And so I'm going to do just a quick introduction of what's going on. So everybody can see my screen here. This is the Tim's Hockey Challenge. And how it works is every day you pick 3 players. There's 3 groups. You pick 1 player from each group, and if 1 player scores, you get, of your 3 that you've chosen, you get 10 Tim's points, which is good for a seventh of a coffee, if I have that right. If you have 2 players score, you get 50 points, and if you have all 3 players that you picked score, you get 150 Tim's points, which I think is good for like 10 or 20 Timbits and gets you close to a breakfast sandwich or a couple coffees. So a donut is 70 points. I think coffee is also 70. So you can see the values. Like you need to grind away to eventually get enough Tim's points to make it worthwhile going. And they don't make it easy on you, because when I first downloaded the game, and I'll give credit to Ben Burnett, our short shifts host, who initially roped me into this. I feel like it's been maybe a month now, and it's, like I said, it's become this thing on our patrons only Discord. We have a crew called the Timmy's Gang and a crew called the Timmy's Gang. How lame does that sound, everybody? Where we talk the guys available in group 1.
Yeah, so group 1 is generally like not your elite of elite, like you were saying. There's no McDavids, there's no Matthews, there's no Pasternaks, but maybe that like 1 or 2 steps below. So still top line players who will get maybe PP1, PP2, but definitely not the upper echelon of the NHL.
Yeah, like nobody who is on a pace for 30 goals or more seems to ever be included in the game. So there's no easy outs
No.
in the Tim's Hockey Challenge. And then in the second group, of course, the quality's lower. You're getting a lot of like middle six type players with maybe some offensive defensemen. And then in the third group, it's the garbage heap. You're lucky if you get a couple power play quarterbacks in there, and then it's a bunch of fourth line forwards and defensemen who you won't even want to roster in fantasy hockey for peripherals, let alone goals. So the pickings get pretty slim, and you can see right now, for anybody who's new to this, I'm on a 3-day streak right now. Which is big because I missed on like 8 of the last 9 nights. So I've caught lightning, and I'm hoping this is going to be start something beautiful. If you get a 7-day streak, you end up getting like a week of free coffee from Tim's. So and I smile because that prize is of varying value to different people. To you, Edward, maybe not so much. Have you come close to that 7-day streak?
No, I think the longest I've done is 4. But I hang my hat on the fact that I got 3 out of 3 on back-to-back nights. I think that should be worth a week's worth of coffee right there alone.
That is amazing. So it's the rare trifecta, getting all 3. I think I've done it twice, and I've been playing. You can see 38 days played, and a quarter of the time my pick is correct. So it's not awesome. It's a really difficult game, which is why we're here to guide you through it and give you your best opportunity to win based on our advice. So, Edward, how about we start by taking a look at, or maybe actually you were telling me off air, is there strategy to this game, or is it just a lottery? Because I know Tim's is definitely stacking the odds against us, as we mentioned, by the players available to select. Getting 3 in a night is basically impossible given who the group 3 players are. But what's your starting point for how to make your Tim's picks?
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily call it the strategy rather than just my strategy that I use. Playing the teams that generally let in a lot of goals, who are playing against the Buffaloes, the Anaheims, the Columbuses. And then out of those teams, I'll see if there's anyone that I like in the groupings, maybe choose 2 or 3 from each group, see who's on like a hot streak, who's gotten the best deployment, see if they're going to be playing against a backup goalie, something like that. And then based on all that information, throw a dart at the board and hope that you hit something.
Yeah, so I think that's it. I think it's a lot of riding hot hands and trying to find the right matchups. I mean, sometimes you are looking to see who's playing. Like when I first started the game, I definitely wanted whoever was playing against San Jose. I always went for the team playing San Jose. So tonight we have the Wild against the Sharks. Let's see who's in Group 1. So you can see here, as Edward capably described, you've got some of the higher end scoring defensemen like Drew Doughty and Chris Letang, and then you've got some forwards who are like capable of scoring, like Matt Zuccarello and Zach Hyman. Mangiapane's been doing pretty well lately. Riley Smith should be doing better. Nazem Kadri can score. Oh, we have a gift today. I don't know how often I see a player the quality of Mitch Marner in Group 1. I feel like after we just talked down the options that Tim's always gives us, this is a diamond in the rough, isn't it?
It's very rare that you get somebody at the caliber of Mitch Marner, but I may be going against the curve. I actually didn't pick Mitch Marner for my first pick in this grouping.
So please don't leave us hanging here. Who did you think is more likely to score tonight out of this group that includes Zach Kassian than Mitch Marner? You didn't pick Zach Kassian or Mason Appleton, I'm sure.
No, I went personally with Nazem Kadri. Not that Mitch Marner's a bad pick. Honestly, if I'm probably an idiot not to pick for not picking Mitch Marner, but my kind of justification was, Edmonton's going back to Mike Smith, who's been playing relatively well. Toronto's power play hasn't been clicking at all the past, 16, 17, 18 outings. I don't think they've only scored 1 or 2 goals in that output. And Mitch Marner is a pass-first player. He's an elite playmaker. He's super creative, and he definitely can score his share of goals. But to call him like an elite sniper, it wouldn't be accurate. That's kind of why I went with Nazem Kadri, who's playing against probably Ryan Miller tonight. And even though he was bumped off, I think, the first power play, I think there's a good chance he gets that back.
Okay, so I'm just heading over to goalie post. I did see that Smith is starting the first half of this back-to-back, and I like that you're like, well, that's reason not to go with Mitch Marner. I'm like, no, that's, you know me, that's reason to go with Mitch Marner. I want Mitch Marner going up against Mike Smith. Mitch Marner, as you said, though, he's not a huge goal scorer. He has 12 goals in 34 games this year. Last year, he's pacing for about 20. So, look, he's not going to set the world on fire. Nazem Kadri, though, is just, he's had his 30-goal seasons, and I think he's capable of, like, being a 25-goal guy. Shooting percentage a little low tonight, or this season, so there is a chance that he's going to put in a goal. I'm also just seeing, why did you say maybe Ryan Miller starts tonight for Anaheim? John Gibson had like his first really good start in a long time.
Yeah, but then I saw he was scratched for the game after that, and again, I personally didn't look too much into it. I don't know if he's back for tonight. And they went with God, what's his name? Stollars?
Anthony Stoli, the goalie. Anthony Stollers.
Yeah, and they went with him last game. But even with Gibson as net, yeah, he had the one good start, but overall he has not been great this season. So whether it's Miller, whether it's Gibson, I'm still as confident as one can be, which is to say, okay, that Kadri would get a goal tonight.
Okay, fair enough. I am not going to look a gift horse in the mouth here. I'm going to go straight for Mitch Marner as my Group 1 guy. The other guy I'd consider, honestly, is Matt Zuccarello, because he's playing the Sharks, which is just a part of my game here. Doughty are, as a defenseman, obviously you're just taking fewer shots, and no defenseman is really going to have as good a chance as a top six forward to score on any given night. So, okay, so you've got Kadri, I've got Marner. Let's head over to Group 2 today, which has, I guess I'll highlight the names that I see interesting at a glance, and then you can tell me where you're looking with Group 2. So we've got Nolan Patrick, Kevin LeBanc, first-line center Riley Sheahan, except he's not first-line center in Buffalo anymore, but he was for a fleeting moment there. Josh Lavo, first-line Josh Lavo. If the first line is Kachuk's line. The Flames are doing all kinds of weird stuff. Their lines don't make sense at all these days. So there's two first lines, or there's like a 2A and 2B or 1A and 1B situation right there. And Lavo is an interesting pick. I kind of wish he was in Group 3 as somebody I could take there. He's playing with Lindholm and Kachuk. And we've got, I think it's Brett Ritchie with Gaudreau and Monahan on the other, like, 1A, 1B line. Morgan Riley, Neil Pionk. And I think for me, there's Power Play 1 Matt Martin, who we talked about on the show last night. But I think for me, that rounds out the relevant players in here. What do you think?
Yeah, I had a very similar list, and I agree with you. If Levo was in Group 3, I'd jump all over that pick. But with the other names in Group 2, he didn't really make my top, I don't know, let's say top 3 for lack of a better term. I actually have Nolan Patrick, Kevin LeBanc, and Morgan Riley as like the 3 that I kind of zoned in on to pick for this matchup.
Okay, and have you decided? Do you know who you're going with?
Yeah, I went with Nolan Patrick. Again, maybe a little bit off the board there, but he's playing a struggling Buffalo team. I know Allmark is back, but is he really playing at 100%? And he did score last game, so why not ride that hot hand? He's shooting a little bit more than he normally does, it seems. Again, I only really look at the past 5 or 7 games played.
Yeah.
So I'm just going with a gut instinct on this and say Nolan Patrick.
Okay. Yeah, Nolan Patrick, who looked briefly really exciting this season, but of course he's had a long road back to this season after dealing with some health issues last year. Started off hot with 4 points in 5 games. And he does not even have 4 points in his last 26 games. Just 2 goals in 26 games, seeing middle 6 minutes and barely shooting. But as you said, he's got 5 shots over his last 2 games, so that's not nothing. I'm going to go with Kevin LeBanc as my Group 2 guy, who's someone I think I've gone with often, and I don't think he's ever really rewarded me. But I do like that he's playing on the top line with Logan Couture and Evander Kane, and on the top power play. I mean, I don't like that San Jose's against Minnesota tonight, one of the better defensive teams who have two goalies playing lights out right now. But I do like that LeBanc can put in 3 or 4 shots on goal and get some power play time at that. So I'm pretty happy with him as my second group pick, which brings us finally to our third group. And here it is, the ultimate trash heap of players that Tim's is going to throw at us to deny us the chance of ever going 3 for 3 in a night. And I guess I'm just going to ask you straight. You know who's in this category all the time? There's 2 guys that I'm seeing that are in this category all the time that I kind of go back and forth between: Tyson Barrie and Erik Karlsson. They are group 3 for life. And they're not awful options, but they also rarely score. So where's your head at with this group of group pick number 3 players?
So my initial pick, I submitted my picks before a lot of goalies were announced. So my initial pick was actually Mark Giordano.
Yeah.
Playing on the top power play. I think he got a goal last game too. I know he's against Hellebuyck, but the amount that Sutter puts net on the ice, just the odds are he's going to put a few shots on net and maybe one goes in. Who the heck knows? But then the goalies were announced. So if I had to do a repick, I would probably go with Tyson Barrie with Michael Hutchison in net. And I'm not a Hutchison hater. I think he's actually been playing pretty good this year. But, he's at the end of the day, he's still Michael Hutchinson. So
exactly. That's where I'm at with Hutchinson too. So I also am looking at Tyson Barrie and feeling pretty excited. He has been shooting a lot lately. In his last 9 games, he's got 37 shots. So he's been averaging 4 shots per game for about 3 weeks now. And still has great power play opportunity. Of course, he's a defenseman. He's not going to get too many goals on the season, so you just have to hope that tonight's the lucky night. But he's still more likely on a given night than any of the forwards here. I guess the only forward we have is Cody Eakin. The other guy that I might consider is Rasmus Dahlin. Is that crazy? Because they're against the Flyers. We know Carter Hart is taking a couple days off to get right and do some work with goaltending coach Kim Dillabaugh. I saw on Twitter, or Dillabaugh, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He has not been shooting a lot lately, though. He's had 1 or 2 shots for pretty much all of his last oh my gosh, I'm going back in his game log, 15 games. In his last 15 games, he's had more than 2 shots just once, and most of those times he's had less than 2 shots. He's been at 1 or 0. So to me, that pretty much cements it for going with Tyson Barrie and hoping that tonight's a night that he provides for me in Group 3.
And like you said, the Group 3 are usually really slim pickings, and as bleak as this group looks today, it's actually not too bad compared to Group 3s of days gone by.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you named probably 3 or 4 pretty, I'm not going to say good options, but not nothing options. Whereas before it's been a lot of nothing. So at least here we could have a debate on who to go with, whether it's Barrie or Giordano or Dahlin.
It's true. That is a luxury that we can have. Okay, so my final 3 are, I've got Marner, LeBanc, and Barrie. And who are your final 3 for tonight?
So my official final 3 was Kadri, Patrick, and Giordano. But if I had to do a re-roll, I would probably do Barrie over Giordano.
Yeah, I don't mind the Giordano pick at all. I've been boosting him all season, especially when the coaching change happened. Be there's a chance he quarterbacks the top power play. And I mentioned on the show that last night that Giordano's gone 12 games without an assist, but he has 4 goals in those 12 games. So it's pretty, and his peripherals are back. So if you're in just a standard fantasy league, you might want to check into Mark Giordano power play quarterback again. Although being power play quarterback on Calgary right now is being anywhere on Calgary. We also talked about this last night, dead zone for fantasy production and relevance. Elon and I predicted on the last episode of Keeping Karlsson that every Calgary player's percent rostered is going to go down from now to the end of the season. Maybe Giordano's the only one who could go up because everybody had pretty much just left him for dead. But even then, so I like the pick. He has a bunch of 3 and 4 shot games recently, even a 5-shot game. So I don't think, honestly, I think it's even odds between Barry and Giordano. And who does Barry get? Or sorry, Giordano. Oh, Giordano gets Hellebuck. So that's that's like playing Thatcher Demko, right? It's like the defense is garbage, but the goalie's really good. Their last line of defense is really good. So you might get more opportunities, but you might not be any more likely to score.
Yeah, and I'm sure Calgary Flames fans who watch them game in, game out will correct me, but from the games that I've been watching, especially when Sutter took over, their power play relies a lot on point shots. So that's another reason that kind of was in the back of my head when I was thinking Giordano too.
Right. Okay, yeah. So there you go. So I'm curious to see which one of us goes 3 for 3 tomorrow, because it's definitely going to be one of us.
100%.
Thanks so much for doing this, Edward. And I think we're going to do this all week with a different and special guest each day. So tomorrow, I think Ben from Short Shifts is going to be with me to do this around, it's going to be in the morning. So maybe around 9 in the morning Eastern, and then through the rest of the week. And let us know in the comments who you like out of the players you've seen, who your 3 picks would be, and we'll see if you're smarter than us. So Edward, thanks a lot for being here with us. And I also want to shout out Edward makes outstanding logos. We probably should have thought about this before. It's like, how can we? So Edward makes these fantasy hockey logos for so many teams in the Cupful, and they're beautiful. He did mine this year. He made the Clipping Karlsson logo too, which you might see if you subscribe to us. It's like a Saturday clip show. And I'm hearing noise at my door, but I think we're good. Yeah, sorry. So Edward makes some really fantastic logos. That's not good live streaming. And if anybody wants to know how to get one, so Edward has been doing them in exchange for donations to charities of his choice. Edward, I have to run for a minute. Why don't you share how people can get, and they can add us on Twitter. I'll be right back.
Okay. No pressure for a non-professional podcaster here to fill time. Yep, so you can get a hold of me either directly through the Discord if you're a Patreon subscriber to get the logo for your fantasy team. The way it works is you just donate $25 to the Michelin Lodge, which is a center that takes in abused women and gives them a safe space to kind of escape their situations. If you want more information on that, just DM me on Discord, or you can send me an email at edward@like40.com, edward@like40.com.
Yeah, so I'm sure everything Edward said was perfectly accurate. If you missed any of it, well, it's YouTube, so you can rewind. At Keeping Karlsson on Twitter. If you want to see some of his work too, I'll happily show the world, because Edward has done some amazing things for great causes. So thanks, Edward, for being here. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.